You have to develop that act.
Yes.
And like you said, the fundamentals of all comedy is based on the one- and two-liner joke. When you can master that, then your stories automatically become funnier. Because what is a story made up of? Sentences. Every sentence is a setup. Gives you an opportunity to now treat that like a one- and two-liner, come up with a quick quip or two or three, and then continue with the story. So if you're writing the story, you can go back through your story and go sentence by sentence by sentence. Sid Caesar said, a joke is a sentence with a curly Q. What is every story? It's made up of sentences. So if you go up and take each sentence and can tag and top each one with something, or maybe not each one, every third one, and then now you have a bit that's humorous overall, but you have jokes on the way to the big joke. So that's, tags and toppers is the way you get more laughs per minute,
And it's writing the story, not trying to be funny.
Right.
Write it as is, and then go back through and start to
Yeah, the
inject
intent is to
funny.
get let me tell you about the arc of this story, right? So it has the 5 elements of story, setting, theme, plot, character, conflict, and then you have, so you're telling the story, the who, what, where, why, when, and how, the moral arc, and all this stuff. The moral of the story is, and then, so you have this great story, and then it goes on forever with no laughs, but you can use technique to drop it in.
Gotcha,
One of the
yeah.
techniques is ask each sentence 3 questions. 1, is there a double entendre play? So is there a word that has an implied meaning I can possibly turn to a comedic meaning in this sentence? Just to get a quick quip. I came home from work last night. It was the night before my wife was scheduled for a C-section, so I come home from a gig, and she's laying on the couch watching TV. I said, hey, babe, how you feeling? She says, I'm having some gas pains. I said, well, everyone is. It's like $5 a gallon. And I continue with the story, right? It's just a quick quip on the way to the bigger story. And so I continued to tell the story, but every line gives you something you can play with. Then, if there isn't a double entendre play, you can say, are there 2 dissimilar ideas converging here? So I can do an incongruity joke with this. So if that's not available, then you could say, is there an assumption in this setup that I can shatter? I'm home, I'm teaching my daughter how to tie her shoes, which is weird because she's 17. And, you just a quick quip on the way to the big joke. So it's adding more stuff. And that's just 3 structures. Then if you add cliche reformations, you force an analogy in there. That's how Bill Burr builds his entire act, is through analogy, likes, taking 2 dissimilar ideas and saying they're similar, which sets to the audience an illogical equation. My girlfriend's like a smartphone, huh? Right? They're sitting there with tension now saying, solve that. How is that true? I'm curious. Yeah. And all you do is solve for true. And the secret is, it's got to be true for a smartphone all by itself, or a girlfriend all by itself. Because if you had if the verbiage that you come up with as the tie-in doesn't match a person or a girlfriend, then it's not going to work. It sounds forced. It's going to be odd. But if you say, my ex, like I say my ex, it builds more of an antagonistic situation. Like I said, my ex is like a smartphone. At any given time, I can usually find her at least 1 bar. And what a coincidence. That's so true. But that fits for a person or a smartphone. 1 bar being the signal, of course, right? But that's just by listing everything smartphone, right?
So I was going to ask, how do you find the connection between the incongruities?
Yeah, so you basically take, if I decide to use smartphone, say if I want to use, sometimes, in this case, what I'm doing is I'm taking an element and comparing it to my wife, rather than finding traits about my wife and then finding the element to relate it to. Like my ex-wife was an alcoholic, right? So I said, I played on that angle. I said, what else is alcoholic? What else is alcoholic? And funny cars are alcohol fueled. So if I say my ex-wife, she's like a funny car, alcohol fueled. Now I have a quick joke there, but I'm working the other approach to it, the alternate approach, finding what is she like, and then finding something to relate her to. This way I'm taking any element and comparing it to my ex-wife, and then listing everything I can think about, using subcategories of people, places, things, words, phrases, cliches, events. And And I'll write that down, people, places, things, words, phrases, cliches, events, every single time I do a list to remind myself. Because when you're so close to it and you're going through the list, sometimes you just get too heady. And I'll go, oh, I didn't do any cliches here. What do people say when they say this? What people are involved in a smartphone? Can you hear me now? That guy, you know? And I'll just write down everything I can about a smartphone. What else in smartphone in the minutia? The signal. What about the signal? The bars. Hey, what are some of the phrases? Hey, my phone's only at 2 bars. Bars, double entendre. That's a bar, could be a drinking establishment. Fits from my ex-wife. Now, because my ex-wife's like a smartphone, you know? At any given time, I can usually find her at least 1 bar. Same phrase fits for a phone. See?
Wow.
Hey, hot brethren and sistren. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you love comedy as much as we do here at Hot Breath, click the subscribe button to join the Hot Breathiverse, and then watch more videos to get even more comedy tips. And stop sucking at comedy. Go ahead, click it.